Wow, there were a lot of great announcements at Star Wars Celebration. One of the most exciting announcements is by far the 3 new movies that are up and coming for Star Wars, one of which to be directed by the one and only Dave Filoni, which is obviously very, very exciting. And while thinking and pondering on this movie and thinking about everything that's happening with Mandalorian and the Ahsoka show and with Thrawn, I have a theory that I want to share with you that I think, if it ends up being true, could be super cool. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Okay, so this Dave Filoni movie is supposedly going to take place between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, which is, the same time period that we have Mando and Ahsoka and all of these different shows in the Filoniverse is what people are calling it. And a lot of people are speculating and assuming that this Dave Filoni movie is probably going to heavily focus on Thrawn. As we know, Thrawn's going to be reintroduced in the Ahsoka show, and his story is going to be continued from Star Wars Rebels. And he is going to be the new big bad, so to speak. And Thrawn, being a super cool character, a lot of people are assuming, since he's being introduced in this Ahsoka show, is probably going to be the main focus of this Dave Filoni movie, and is going to be like the main villain. This movie is going to be about him as the antagonist, as the villain, as kind of continuing what the Ahsoka show is introducing, which is, him and his character. And that's, that's not confirmed by any means, but that's, it makes a lot of sense. And admittedly, it's probably true based on how everything's kind of laying out and when this movie's coming out and everything like that. And I had a theory that I was thinking about. So about a month ago or so, maybe a month, 2 months ago, there was a rumor that was going around that Disney was supposedly going to announce the making of a new Star Wars project that was going to involve Luke, Han, and Leia as the main characters. It was, it was not clear if it was going to be a movie or a show or whatever. And I even made a video on some theories of what that could be. My theory, and bear with me here, I think that this new Dave Filoni movie could actually be that rumored project that they were talking about. So the rumor was that they were going to announce that project at Star Wars Celebration. Now, we didn't get any announcements that I'm aware of that project, unless they had an announcement only for people there. But in terms of announcements that are actually to the public, nothing has been said about a Luke, Han, and Leia movie. And they did announce a Dave Filoni movie, though, which we know is probably going to focus on Thrawn. And the interesting thing is in the Ahsoka trailer, they mention heir to the Empire. Ahsoka says something's coming, something dark, which is alluding to Thrawn. And then she says, I've heard rumors of Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire, which is the name of the original book trilogy from Timothy Zahn, which is now Legends, but it came out in the 90s and was responsible for kind of kickstarting the expanded universe. And Timothy Zahn, who created Thrawn, also wrote the newer Thrawn trilogy, the new canon one, which I'm reading the first book of right now. It's really, really good. But in the Heir to the Empire books, it was the story of after Return of the Jedi, where Luke and Han and Leia were basically fighting the remains of the Empire, the remaining bits of the Empire, and the main antagonist was going to be Thrawn. And Thrawn's second-in-command, his protege from those books, actually made an appearance in Episode 7 of The Mandalorian in the big kind of council that they had with Moff Gideon. So my theory is that basically this Dave Filoni movie is actually that rumored Luke and Han and Leia project that was being talked about, and that the plot of that movie is going to be that reminiscent of Heir to the Empire, as these main original trilogy characters are going to go against Thrawn and the remains of the Empire, and that's going to be the plot of that movie, and that those two projects are actually the same thing, and that they may even pull information from the Heir to the Empire books. Now, a little thing I should mention, I've never actually read the Heir to the Empire books, but I know the main premise, that being, he was the main villain, and it was Luke and Han and Leia going against him. And since this Dave Filoni movie is going to focus on Thrawn, and there was a rumored project that's going to have Luke and Han and Leia in it, supposedly, then those two projects could easily be the same thing. And the fact that, they've also been making references to Heir to the Empire, which is the plot, as I've mentioned, of Luke and Han and Leia versus Thrawn. All those factors coming together and everything that's kind of been referenced and seen and announced, it feels like those two projects could actually be the same thing, and that the Han, Luke, and Leia project was actually announced. It just wasn't announced that Luke and Han and Leia were actually going to be in that project, but instead that Dave Filoni was directing a movie during that time period. So looking at all this evidence, I think that could be really, really cool. I think that could make a really great movie. And even though I've never read Heir to the Empire, that would have honestly been an amazing sequel trilogy in itself. So for me, that's very, very exciting if that ended up being true. This is all speculation, of course. And I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys think it's at all possible that this rumored Luke Han and Leia project is actually the same thing as the Dave Filoni movie and is going to be the plot that, reminiscent of the Heir to the Empire books? And if that is true, do you guys want to see that? Do you guys think that that would be a cool project, a cool movie, and think that would, make a good story for Thrawn? I think it has some evidence, and I think it'd be super cool, but let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys soon. May the Force be with you.